super fortunate and super exciting that we get to have a very special person sitting just right next to me on the screen here. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. We have the Robert Wright. You know, if you're the Enagic community, you have been following my posts, you're wellness entrepreneurs, there's really no way you don't know about this man. Even though you don't know about this man, you will probably see this book before. The Killing Cancer, Not People. I personally highly recommend this book because this is what saved my life. Probably people know that a few years ago, I was diagnosed with salivary gland tumor. This is the book actually get me all into the right track and get my tumor strength down and get me off into a better health state as of this moment. All right, so this is the ones. And I'm super excited. I get to, speak hand to hand, head to head with this man, Mr. Robert Wright. So how are you doing, Mr. Wright?
I am blessed today, like every day, and I'm excited to talk to you, Christina, and excited to come to Canada in June. It's going to be a great time, and all of us hopefully are going to learn a lot.
I hope so. I hope so. And every single time whenever I come across your book, and even I know that around 2 years ago, you were here in Toronto. I learned a lot. And when I share the video out, people say, this is amazing. At least I know the big C is not that scary. It's all about natural healing, right? Mr. Wright, do you think you will be able to tell us a little bit about your history for those of our audience out there who have not read your book, who have not studied who you are? How did your whole thing start off? Like, what gets you into what you're doing right now?
Well, it started for me probably at least 30 years ago. And of course, my mom and dad both died of cancer. My mom went first, and she died within a week of being diagnosed. And my dad took 16 years to die after his diagnosis with the removal of a kidney with kidney cancer. And then the cancer worked its way to the other one. He was on 24 medications and just had a poor quality of life for those last 16 years. So I've seen both ends of it. I've studied, the human body, anatomy, physiology, and all the ologies. And basically, I wanted to find out what cancer was all about, as both my parents had died. So I was a long distance runner, a marathon runner. I was trying to find out what I could do for myself that would make me healthier, that make me run faster and better without using other means. In other words, to do it legally. And so I studied supplements, and I've studied basically a lot of different sickness and disease. So don't think it's just about cancer here. We're going to talk about, when we come up there, protocols that seem to work for everyone, regardless if you have cancer or diabetes or heart disease or neurodegenerative disease, autoimmune disease. So we're going to talk about all of these. But I have a rich background now that goes back many, many years, all the way to college days, and that's even much further in my studies and my lifelong study of these types of things. So by the grace of God, I'm able to tell people about these things and tell them about this volume of information that I've accumulated over time. And I think that we've come up with some pretty good answers.
That's really nice. That's really nice, because the majority of people thought that you are only talking about cancer. But really, there's more to it. And there's a lot of trigger point, right? Cancer does not come overnight. It's about how we treat ourselves, how we intake and what we output, and all those things combined. And our body is interesting enough, it actually gives us a hint how it eventually migrates to that. And but cancer eventually become a fear word. This is what we always said, because it seems to be the #1 cause of that in Canada, and I'm sure that it's the same in America and around the world. So that's what actually triggered people to put the scare and threat to it. But from your book, from listening to your Monday live that you usually do on your fan page, I understand that it's really the more we know, the less scary it gets. The more we know, the less scary we get, right?
Yeah, that's really true. Because information and knowledge really is power. I know that's something people say a lot, but when you really dig down deep into the causation of sickness and disease today, and prevention, which is the real cure, we know, when you really dig into it, you find out the real truth, whether it's about cancer or other chronic illness. And when you do that, you have that power to help yourself. And in this case, you really do need to help yourself, because sadly, our conventional medical programs and facilities don't have the answer for us when it comes to a chronic illness, and they treat symptoms. Seems like they do that all the time, and they're fairly good at that, but they have no answers for how to heal our bodies, and I believe we have the answers, and so I'm anxious to share those.
It is super exciting, super exciting. I understand that, Mr. Wright, this, what I have on hand is actually the third edition. And I know that from what I've read in the news, you have something more exciting coming up when you're coming to Canada, correct? So,
right, I can show you right here if everyone can see this.
Oh.
This is the new fourth edition of the book, and we're going to have those when we're in Canada, and we're delighted to announce as well that Christina, you and your team has taken on the challenge and the work to print the book in Canada, so we can get it to everyone less expensively and hopefully get it into more hands on a local level. It just costs so much to ship books around the world now, and we're delighted to say that you have accepted this challenge and you're going to do that. So we're going to have fourth editions on hand, right?
Excellent, exactly. And you know what, Mr. Ray, it's not a challenge, it's a blessing for me. Day one, 5 years ago, through this book, even though you don't know me, I don't know you, through this book, you saved my life. It's my way of saying thank you, and how can we pay it forward, and such that more people get less scared and find that they can have better control what's coming on in front of them. Cancer is not scary, everybody. You have to understand it's not scary. If you understand what exactly it's about and how we can tackle it. And this is what this book is about. And that's why this book is also called Cancer Bible. Right, and a lot of, if you read the testimonial, if you read what people are saying about this is actually a must-have in your kitchen cabinet, because it's not just about the water. People know chapter 6 is about water. There's more to it, right? Mr. Ray, do you think you can tell us a little bit more about what's in it for those one who hasn't got a copy of this book yet?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've updated the water chapter in there. Obviously, every time we get a new edition, we add new things. We've added a lot of new testimonies, and we've updated some of the other testimonies, which people like to see. Some of the older ones, everyone wants to know, well, what happened to them? Okay, they followed your protocol, but how are they doing now, 5 years later? So we've updated those, and believe me, that's good news too. We've added a brand new chapter about CBD oil, marijuana, THC, all about these things, because people are very curious about these. And there's a good reason why they're curious, and that's because we're seeing all of these reports, and you can see many YouTube videos about people who have used these oils for various things, neurodegenerative diseases and cancer, autism and epilepsy in children. And so we're pretty excited about that. And so we went out to research that so we could really find the truth about that too. Is it marijuana? Is it hemp oil? Is it CBD, THC? So this new chapter in the book is going to answer those questions for you, and you'll be able to discover, if you're interested in this and you can legally get it in Canada, then that there are sources that are really good that we researched, because we want to steer people in the right direction. We don't want them to try 10 things and finally find something that works. We want to find something that works right out of the chute. So we do our homework, so you don't have to do quite as much.
And it's a true blessing, because there's just, like with the world right now, there's just too much information out there. When you Google about something, it's just, we're overwhelmed, and we have no clue which one is good and which one is not. And you and your team, Mr. Wright, has already done the shopping and the curating for us. So therefore, we know we do not need to search, because in particular, in a situation where we're facing cancer, like what I had back then, when we're facing disease and sickness, we are so scared. We have no clue who and where we should look at. And I think the case study and how many people you and your team have impact actually is actually a proven result. Why we need to get this book on hand and listen more to your talk. So therefore, we have the knowledge, not just to help ourselves, but to help people that we may came across. Well, it could be your loved one, or it could be someone they just bumped into in the mall. But by sharing that information, we could have saved a life. And this is a true blessing.
Yes. a lot of lives, actually. And so we forward the things in this book throughout all the chapters that really work for people. And we know that they work because we see these people. We work directly down in the trenches with the patients, and we know what goes on and what happens. And that's the real proof for me. I mean, you can have your clinical studies, you can do tests on mice, but what's the real proof? And that's it. How does it work in the human body? And that's what we've been able to prove over time with literally tens of thousands of people. That's pretty good proof where I come from.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's also interesting is that I understand that aside from water, advice from CBD, you also mentioned about supplementation, something that you actually apply and actually use it for your client. And you also mentioned which brand is better, what kind of diet is better. And one thing that you also mentioned in one of the chapters in the book, if for those who are associated or who are still looking into cancer, who have someone who is actually fighting for cancer, you mentioned about chemotherapy. You mentioned about radiation. Without going into too much of that, do you mind to share with us your take on those things?
Well, we know the statistics. We see the results. As a matter of fact, probably over 90% of people who come to see us have already been through all of that other treatment, and it has failed them. And that's generally what happens. And when we do our events in Canada, we'll share all the statistics with everyone about chemo and radiation, and likewise about what we do. And it's very exciting because by and large, and most people know this today, cancer patients don't get good results from allopathic or conventional medicine. Some do, but not very many. And people need to know those statistics, and so they can know what their odds are going in that oncologist door, as opposed to doing something that is more natural, doing something that your body recognizes, and putting in your body the things that it needs to heal the human immune system. And as we know, that's the only thing that heals cancer. There's no single supplement, no single food or treatment or therapy or protocol that cures cancer. No one can legitimately say that. But what we can say is the human immune system will heal you if you give it the proper ingredients. And that's what we're all about.
And that's super exciting, super amazing. You know, the knowledge is power, as you said. Application of the knowledge that you can grab from someone is a superpower. And I believe we can all be a hero in that field by paying forward and by doing so. Now, another thing that is getting into the buzzwords nowadays more and more often, which is the essential oil. And I know that you also mentioned about this in the book. Can you share with us a little bit of your take without giving too much details, because they need to come and see you in that 2 hours talk in Toronto, guys, in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. This is where he's going to be at in June. So tell us a little bit about essential oil. Like, what's your take? Like, which brand? You know, there's just too many out there. In the too many essential oil store, and I have no clue how to choose. You know.
Yeah. And that can be a problem, and it's a problem with all different types of supplementation. You know, what do I choose, and how do I know what is best? And when we come up there, we're going to show you what's best. And I like essential oils, and this is new to the 4th edition. Everybody needs to know we did not we weren't completed with our studies of essential oils when the 3rd edition came out, but we had completed those by the time the 4th edition came out, and so it is in there now. And we should all be mindful of essential oils. And here's the reason. We know that God put plants on this earth for us to utilize for our food and to keep well and heal us when we're not. And so it makes perfect sense to me to utilize the oils that largely come from different plants that are upon our planet today. And it makes perfect sense, actually. And whether you're inhaling them, whether you're ingesting them or putting them on your skin, they're all going to work to a certain degree, depending on what you're utilizing for your specific condition or just for general wellness. We know that. And so we talk about that in the book, and we talk about the company that we recommend. I don't know if you want to hear that now or you want to save that. We chose doTERRA. And we chose doTERRA for a specific reason. We're not saying there aren't some other good ones out there. That's not what we say. But for our money and the research that we did, we found that doTERRA was superior. But if you find something on your own that you think is really good in helping you, I say go for it, you know. But for our money, it's doTERRA, and we say that unabashedly, because they're good, and we know they're good, and we research them. And you know, whether you're dealing with peppermint oil or copaiba, we know the values of these essential oils, and that's what we forward.
And this is exciting. This is exciting. I think, I'm not sure like the time that we schedule for the talk, 120 minutes, is enough for everybody to, you know, to get the research and hearing from you. I'm sure that no one wants to leave the room after the 2 hours. I'm 100% sure about that. I know that, Mr. Ray, you need to go and see another client, and so, you know, we are super fortunate that you are able to squeeze your schedule and spare a few days for our Canadians here, in particular for Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. Guys, take the stay down. I'm going to, you will see in subtitle there where you can get the tickets. Toronto, we're doing on June 9th, okay, which is a Sunday, okay, and in Ottawa, we're doing on the Friday, which is June 7th. And Montreal, guys, we're doing evening function on Thursday night, which is June 6th. So save those dates. It will be very limited seating. You know that whenever Mr. Ray is around, the room is packed with people. So you better save those days and invite people, even though you're not in Montreal, you're not in Ottawa, but you know someone who needs to know this knowledge and need to have the superpower. You should invite them, you know, get the tickets as a gift. I think it's about paying for it. It's not just about getting a book, but at least getting the knowledge. And for those who will be in the event, we are going to have the 4th edition with Mr. Wright, and you can get him to personally autograph it, give it to someone for yourself. And you know, I think this is the best gift they can ever prepare for. Even though getting an early Christmas gift, I think this is one of the best. And I know that, Mr. Ray, there's a chance that you also bring in another language of the 3rd edition coming to Toronto, correct? What are you bringing over?
Well, we'll have some Chinese versions. As most of you know, I was in Southeast Asia, in mainland China, Hong Kong. We went to Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and talked to thousands and thousands of people. I'll bet I signed 4,000 books when I was there. So, and many, obviously in mainland China and Hong Kong, we did a lot of the Chinese version. And so we'll have limited editions of those, but in the future, we'll have unlimited copies of those. But right now they're somewhat limited. So if you want to acquire one of those, you probably better get your name in and your word in with Christina in advance.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So guys, again, save the date. June 6th, he will be in Montreal. June 7th, he will be in Ottawa. June 9th, he'll be in Toronto, and then he's leaving on June 10th. I would like to keep him here in Canada, but I couldn't. And I'm sure that many of the patients won't. And knowledge is a power. Come and learn from this man who actually changed many lives already. And there's over 300,000 books have already sold. You know, and I believe in the next 2 years, by 2020, 2021, the number of books sold could have been 1 million. Because in 1 million copies out there could have saved 4 million people, because each household is 4 people. Right? So if that's the case, why don't you join us and be a part of this pay it forward, hero? I think this is a heroic movement. Join us, save the dates, be a part of us when he's coming for this Canada East tour, where he's going to bring in his brand new 4th edition and get him autographed, right? So thank you again, Mr. Wright, and I will see you literally in 5 weeks, actually.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and guys, go to the link that you see out there and buy the ticket as soon as possible. Once the ticket is gone, we cannot fit more people because the fire department won't allow us. So make sure you get the ticket early and give the ticket to someone. Okay? You get to listen his message upfront, face to face. I think that's the best. All right. So thank you again, Mr. Ray. I'll see you in 5 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.